My intuition is telling me there'll be better days.
What's up, guys? So today I'm not really sure what I'm going to be doing. I have a general concept. I definitely want to do a blue look, so I'm just going to see where the colors lead me and just talk and hang out. So if you'd like to join me, then let's get into it. Alright, I have my eyes primed. I just used some concealer, and I'm going to go in with this ColourPop shadow in Flower Boy and use that as my transition shade with this Farrah blending brush. And I'll just put that in my crease. So I was watching Little Fires Everywhere with Reese Witherspoon and Kerry Washington. Ugh, I love both of them, but especially Kerry Washington. It's actually a really good show, but it's set in the 90s, so there's a lot of like 90s music in it. And the last episode I watched, they played Uninvited by Alanis Morissette, and I can't tell you how long it's been since I heard that song, like probably 15 years, and I could still remember every single word. So I had like a little 90s throwback party with myself and was listening to Jagged Little Pill. Oh my gosh, and it's same with those songs, like I can remember every single lyric, and that was like, that came out like 25 years ago. Like, that blows my mind, and I can so vividly picture like waking up and getting ready for school and putting that CD in my CD player and just like jamming out. And when I was thinking, I was like, how old was I? And I kept wanting to say 5th grade, but then I was like, why was I listening to this in 5th grade? Because I remember like understanding like some of the dirtier things she was saying and be like, oh, but I didn't think I was that young, like 10. And You Ought to Know, you know, a few things. She's like, would she go down on you in a theater? And I remember like knowing what that meant, and I was like, why was I listening to that at 10 years old? But that album, that CD was like one of like the biggest influences in my younger childhood. And it's just crazy how when something like speaks to you so much, you know, I could remember the lyrics 25 years later. And then, so oh my gosh, so it was that, and then Crazy Sexy Cool by TLC. I guarantee if I played that, I would remember all the lyrics to that one as well. Another version of me, is she perverted like me? Will she go down on you in a theater? Does she speak eloquently? And will she have your baby? I'm sure she'd make a really excellent mother. And every time you speak her name, does she know how you told me to hold me until you died, but you're still alive, and I'm here to remind you of the mess you left when you went away. Now I'm going to take Poodle from ColourPop with a Morphe R38. And just put that tighter in the crease. Because this is a more tapered brush, it's easier to do with this type of brush.
Mother's gazing out of her window, staring at a sun that she just can't touch. If every time he's in the jam, she'll be by his side, but he doesn't realize he hurts her so much.
Okay, now I'm gonna take the Norvina Pro Pigment Palette Volume 1. And we're going to go in with B1. And Morphe JH33, which is basically the same thing as like a Morphe M433 or a Sigma E25. And we're going to put that on the outer third of our eye. In with our transition color just to kind of help blend that out some. For the lid, I've been debating about which color to use. I think I'm going to go in with my ColourPop Blue Moon palette and the color Tide Pool, which is right here. Ooh, what a pretty color! This is exactly the color that I wanted. And when you're putting like a glitter shadow on your lid, pat it instead of swiping, and that way you'll get the most intensity of that shadow. I just love like blue and purple and blue and pink together. Yes. Now I'm gonna go in with A3 from the Norvina palette. Oops, with a pencil brush. And put that in the outer corner, kind of making a V shape. Mix that A3 in with some of A4 just because I want it a little bit darker. Oh, that was B4, I'm sorry. Now I'm gonna go in with some Thick Plus and back in with that blue shade. So I wasn't really thinking about how dramatic this look was because there's still a possibility that I have to go into work tonight. My unit is composed of like 2 units actually. There's CCU and CSU, but the side I work on, CCU, has been closed because they just combined the 2 units because we haven't had many patients since no elective surgeries can happen. And I had a rough night last night, so they were saying they needed to push someone back to 11, and I volunteered. So I'll have to call in at 9:30 to see if they need me. But yeah, I wasn't really thinking about that when I decided to do a bright blue and purple eyeshadow look. All right, for the lower lash line, I'm gonna go in with this ColourPop BFF Cream Gel Liner in Boots. For the lower lash line, first I'm going to go in with this hot pink A5. Ooh. That looks kind of cool. And then I'm gonna go in with B1. And put that like mainly on the outer portion of the lower lash line. I'm gonna see how this looks first. I'm gonna go in with a little bit of Blue Ice from my Anastasia Moonchild palette. We'll see. We'll see how that looks. Okay, that doesn't look too crazy. I'm just going to do a small band of liquid liner using my Benefit Roller Lash. Alright, so now I'm going to prime. I'm going to use my Touch in Sol No Poreblem Smooth and Pore Covering Primer. I really do like this. It's like a silicone base. You can feel it, that kind of like smooth slipperiness, but it also blurs pores and it's not drying for someone with extremely dry skin like me. So yeah, I had a rough night at work last night. So I hadn't been there in a while, so of course I was floated to the COVID-19 unit, and I was originally supposed to be the runner. The runner, you know, doesn't go in patient rooms, and they, you know, are able to go throughout the hospital freely and get any supplies that, you know, the nurses may need, since if you are having direct patient care, you're not allowed to leave that unit. And then they got, I had an ICU patient coming, so I was the only ICU nurse without any patients, so I got them. Oh my gosh, this guy was so sick. Like, I would tell you his blood gas results, but most of you would be like, I don't know what that means. Like, you know, just such the severity of it. Oh, I forgot to put mascara on. Hold on, let me do that. I'm gonna use this LANCOME MONSIEUR Big Mascara. And I already curled my lashes. I'm gonna go with my Makeup Revolution Fast Base Stick Foundation first. Okay, so this patient, he was found unresponsive at home by his wife, and they already had to code him 3 times in the ER. He had all the symptoms of COVID-19. He had the clinical presentation of it. And I'm also going to go in with my Urban Decay All Nighter Foundation in shade 1. And I'm going to mix it with this BECCA Ignite highlighter. And so because he had cardiac arrested, they ordered for the hypothermia protocol, which is where there's 2 different ways, but the more common of the 2 ways is, it's called Arctic Sun, and it's basically these pads that you wrap around like your torso and your legs, and it fills with cold water. And hypothermia, we bring the body temperature down to 33 degrees Celsius. And I hook it up. My patient's temperature was 30.4 degrees Celsius. That's how cold he was. So that's definitely not a good sign right there. Why is it that whenever I feel a hair, it's never like where it itches on my face? It's always somewhere else. So this guy was 87 degrees. This definitely is not a good sign. He had already been intubated and on a ventilator, and was already on, they're called vasopressors, which are basically what we use to help maintain someone's blood pressure. He was maxed out on one and almost maxed out on a second one. And usually, like, when you go on a third presser, it's rare that I've seen a patient be able to come off those. Now I'm going to go in with my e.l.f. 16-hour Camo Concealer. So we you know, we'll do, when someone's been unresponsive like that, we'll do blood gases to see the amount of like oxygen, the amount of carbon dioxide, the amount of bicarb in someone's blood, and then also the pH, because the more CO2 there is, the more acidic they're going to come. Normal pH is 7.35 to 7.45. This man's pH was 6.7. I have never seen a pH that low before in my entire life. The lowest I had seen was 6.8. And normally once they're intubated and the ventilator has been breathing for them, it comes up, you know, to a normal level. But we kept repeating the blood gases, and the highest his pH ever got was 7.0. And on his original blood gas, his PO2 was, it said less than 25. Your PO2 is supposed to be, which is your oxygen, 80 to 100. And I'm going to go in with my Huda Beauty Easy Bake Setting Powder in CUPCAKE. I'm trying to maintain his blood pressure, and all of a sudden it drops down to the 40s. I had to start a third vasopressor, was maxed out on that, then his heart rate started to drop. And I've been a critical care nurse for so long, I know when a patient's about to code. And I was like, get the code cart, he's about to go down. And like, they couldn't even bring the code cart into the room because he was under investigation for COVID-19. So, you know, in there like trying to run the code, and there's like a line of everyone, like someone has the code cart outside the room, handing someone inside the room the meds to administer, and had to shock him a few times. So this was the 4th time he had coded, the 4th time his heart had stopped. And after, I think it was like about 15 minutes, literally, the doctor was like, we're going to do one more round and then I'll call it. And then we got him back. But, I mean, he's already gone. Like, the only thing that was keeping him alive was the ventilator. So we called the wife, and the doctor talked to her and was like, there's, you know, there's not going to be a meaningful recovery. And, of course, she's heartbroken. She was married to him for 40 years. But, you know, when I was asking about, I was like, does he have a living will? Which, you know, it says what you want done. If you want compressions, I mean, because we break ribs when, you know, we do compressions. And, you know, living will is what extent do you want extraordinary measures done to you in situations like this? And she's like, no, he doesn't. And I'm like, well, have you guys ever talked about it? And she was like, no. It kind of blew my mind, but then I also realized how common that is. It's not for me, and it's like shocking to me because I am a health professional, and I'm like, I do not want to be kept artificially alive and be coded over and over and over again. And so my just one thing I want to say to everyone is, even if it's just a conversation, like, let someone in your life and you care about know what your wishes are. Okay, I'm going to go in with my Tarte Park Avenue Princess Bronzer. So yeah, the patient ended up passing, and it was crazy just how quick it all happened. Okay, I think I want to try this highlighter that I made. I know it doesn't look very smooth or pretty, but the color is pretty, so let's do it. And I did make a video about how to make your own highlighter at home. Ooh, that's really pretty. Watch out, Jacqueline, there's a new highlighter bitch in town. Just kidding. It's really pretty though. Ooh. I'm also going to use this to highlight my inner corner. But so after that night, like I was in the room almost my entire shift. I was like, I will be pushed back to 11 because I had a rough night last night. I can film a video and just kind of chill for a few hours and then go into work, possibly. I'm gonna go in with this Phase Zero Cotton Candy Blusher. I got this from Ipsy, if my memory serves me correctly. I don't want to do anything too bold since this eye look is extremely dramatic. So I think I want to learn how to sew. My friend offered to teach me. If you guys know how to sew, was it hard to learn? I've been watching Making the Cut, which is kind of like Fashion Runway again, and there's a lot of people like that design clothes, but they're not sewers. So I'm like, is it that hard? I'm gonna take this Makeup Revolution Vivid Baked Highlighter in Matte Lights and buff with this. Some setting spray, this Morphe and Jeffree Star setting mist. Okay, for lashes, I think I'm going to use these Sephora Collection Pop Fizz Wink lashes. So I'm going to go put those on and then I'll be back and we'll do a look. I had just taken like the most beautiful thumbnail pictures. I had my own like photography studio going on. I had the fan going, my hair was blowing, and I was killing it, and I realized that I didn't have my lip on. So I had to take more, but I'm gonna put a little bit more on to show you guys what I use, and because I could use a little touch up. So for lip liner, I am using this Urban Decay 24/7 lip pencil in Double Team. So first I'm gonna go in with this Bare Minerals Mineralist Hydra Smoothing Lipstick in Creativity. I actually really love this color and this formula. It's like a very pretty pink, very spring appropriate. And then on top of that, I'm going to use this Ofra and Madison Miller lip gloss in Sugar Cup by Ofra. And this is the completed look. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope I don't have to go into work because it'll look like I just came from the club. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.